The alien creature, known as a Trelix, lay on the forest floor of a remote, uncharted planet, its powerful body heaving with each labored breath. It was a creature of unmatched majesty, a blend of features from Earth's most revered predators, its muscular frame reminiscent of a lion, adorned with a thick mane, yet marked with the stripes of a tiger. Its fur, once a vibrant mix of tawny gold and black, now matted and streaked with blood, had lost its sheen. The Trelix's once bright green eyes were dimmed with pain and exhaustion. The jungle around it was vibrant and alive, a stark contrast to the creature's grim situation. Towering crystalline trees refracted light into a kaleidoscope of colors, casting an ethereal glow across the thick underbrush. Strange bioluminescent plants pulsed gently in the dim light of the forest, their leaves shifting hues from deep purple to green, illuminating the dense foliage with an otherworldly glow. The air was thick with the scent of alien flowers, and the distant calls of unseen creatures echoed through the trees, but it all felt distant, as if separated by a veil of pain and despair. The Trelix, once a proud and dominant predator, had been abandoned by its own kind. It had fought valiantly in a battle it did not understand, defending its territory against an unknown threat. But in the end, it had been gravely wounded and left to die in this vast, lonely wilderness. Its kin, seeing the severity of its injuries, had moved on, leaving it behind to face the inevitable end. Days passed, and the Trelix's strength waned. Its sharp claws, which could once tear through the toughest of hides, now barely scraped the moss-covered ground beneath it. The jungle, for all its beauty, was indifferent to the creature's suffering. The crystalline trees continued to sparkle, and the bioluminescent plants continued their rhythmic glow as the Trelix lay on the verge of death. But then, one day, the jungle's peace was disturbed by an unexpected sound, a soft hum growing louder, coming from above. The Trelix's eyes flickered open, its ears perking up at the unfamiliar noise. Through the dense canopy, a beam of light pierced down, followed by the sight of something descending, something metallic, something alien. A small spacecraft, sleek and agile, lowered itself into a clearing nearby. The Trelix, though weak, felt a surge of adrenaline. Was this another predator coming to finish it off, or perhaps scavengers, here to pick at its bones? The hatch of the ship opened, and out stepped a group of beings unlike any the Trelix had seen before, humans. They were clad in advanced, sleek space gear, the kind that hinted at their technological superiority, yet their movements were cautious, almost reverent, as if they had come to this place with a purpose beyond mere survival. The leader, a woman with sharp features softened by an expression of concern, approached the Trelix slowly. She gestured to her team, who began unpacking equipment and setting up a perimeter around the creature. The Trelix's eyes, though clouded with pain, followed their every move, its instincts screaming to fight, but its body too broken to respond. This was not how it expected to end, surrounded by strange creatures in a strange land. But something about these humans was different. They did not come with weapons drawn, but with tools and devices that the Trelix could not comprehend. And then, with a voice as soft as the breeze through the trees, the woman spoke. "Easy now," she said, her voice calm and soothing. "We're here to help." Captain Elena Torres was not one to turn away from those in need, regardless of species. When her ship's scanners picked up faint life signs in the jungle below, she had made the decision to investigate, despite the risks. Her crew had been wary. After all, they were in uncharted territory, surrounded by unfamiliar dangers. But Torres had a deep-seated belief that life, in whatever form, was precious. As she approached the massive creature, she could see the extent of its injuries. The Trelix's fur, once beautiful and vibrant, was now matted and streaked with blood. Its sides heaved with each labored breath, and its once powerful limbs lay limp on the ground. Torres felt a pang of pity. This was no mere beast. There was intelligence in those green eyes, a spark of awareness that told her this creature understood its predicament. "Get the med kits," Torres ordered, her voice firm but gentle. "We're not leaving it here." One of her crew members, Jackson, the ship's medic, hesitated. "Captain, are you sure? This creature, it's huge. And look at those claws. If it decides to turn on us..." Torres shot him a look, one that brooked no argument. "We help those in need, Jackson. That's what we do." Jackson nodded, albeit reluctantly, and set to work with the others. They approached the Trelix with care, moving slowly so as not to startle it. The creature watched them warily, but made no move to attack. It was too weak, too close to the edge to resist. As Jackson began administering first aid, using tools designed to stabilize and heal injuries, he couldn't help but marvel at the creature's sheer size and the raw power it must have once possessed. He had seen many strange and wondrous things in his time, but nothing like this, a being that seemed to embody both grace and ferocity, now reduced to a shadow of its former self. "We're going to help you," Jackson murmured as he worked, knowing full well the creature couldn't understand him. But it seemed to sense his intentions, its tense muscles relaxing slightly as the healing devices began their work. Torres stood by, her eyes never leaving the Trelix. She could see the fear and confusion in its gaze, but also a glimmer of something else, hope, perhaps. It was a fragile thing, easily extinguished, but she was determined to nurture it. "You're safe now," she whispered, as much to herself as to the creature. The days that followed were a testament to both the Trelix's resilience and the human's unwavering determination. Aboard the Aurora, the creature was moved to the ship's medical bay, a spacious area filled with advanced technology, but modified to accommodate the massive, feline-like being. The Trelix, despite its injuries, had an air of regality, even in its most vulnerable state. The crew worked tirelessly to care for their unexpected passenger. They brought it food, tended to its wounds, and used every resource at their disposal to ensure its recovery. But more than that, they showed it compassion, something the Trelix had never experienced from another species. Captain Torres visited often, spending hours in the medical bay, speaking to the creature in soft tones, her voice a constant source of comfort. She knew it couldn't understand her words, but she believed in the power of empathy, in the connection that could be forged through simple acts of kindness. One day, as the Trelix lay resting, Jackson entered the bay with a small device in his hands. He approached the creature cautiously, holding out the device for it to see. "I've been working on this," Jackson explained, even though he knew the creature couldn't understand him. "It's a translator. It's not perfect, but it should help us communicate." He activated the device, which emitted a series of beeps and clicks before it began to speak, a synthesized voice that mimicked the low growls and rumbles of the Trelix's language. The creature's green eyes widened in surprise, its ears twitching as it processed the unfamiliar sounds. "We are here to help," the device translated, its voice halting but clear. The Trelix tilted its head, considering the device, and then looked back at Jackson. It did not speak, but the look in its eyes was enough. There was understanding there, a recognition of the human's intent. "Thank you," the device suddenly said, the words surprising even Jackson, who hadn't expected the creature to respond. Jackson smiled, a mixture of relief and pride swelling in his chest. "You're welcome," he replied, his voice soft. "You're safe with us." From that moment on, a bond began to form between the Trelix and the humans. The creature, once distrustful and wary, started to relax in their presence. It allowed them to care for it, and in return it began to heal, both physically and emotionally. As the days turned into weeks, the Trelix regained its strength. Its fur, once dull and matted, began to shine again, its mane thick and proud. Its wounds healed, leaving only faint scars as a reminder of its ordeal. The crew, who had once viewed the creature with caution, now saw it as a companion, a symbol of the life they had chosen to protect. But the biggest change came in the Trelix itself. No longer did it see the humans as a threat or a curiosity. It began to see them as allies, perhaps even friends. As the Aurora approached the edge of the uncharted sector, Captain Torres called a meeting in the ship's common area. The crew gathered, along with their new companion, the Trelix. The creature, now fully recovered, sat calmly on the floor, its massive form taking up a significant portion of the room. But it was not intimidating. It was a part of their team. "We've come a long way," Torres began, addressing the crew, "and we've faced challenges that none of us could have anticipated. But through it all, we've stayed true to our mission, to protect life in all its forms." She glanced at the Tralix, which met her gaze with those intelligent green eyes. "Now we have a decision to make. We can drop our friend off at the next habitable planet where it can find its way home. Or—" She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Or we can continue our journey together." The room was silent as the crew absorbed her words. They had grown attached to the creature, and the thought of parting ways was bittersweet. But they also knew that the Tralix deserved the chance to return to its own kind, to its own world. The Tralix, sensing the gravity of the moment, stood and approached Torres. It lowered its head, a gesture of respect and gratitude. Then, with a deep, resonant voice, the translator device spoke on its behalf. "I will stay." The words echoed through the room, met with smiles and nods of approval from the crew. Torres, her eyes shining with pride, extended her hand. The Tralix placed its massive paw gently in hers, sealing the bond that had formed between them. Together, they would continue their journey through the stars, not as strangers or enemies, but as a united crew, bound by the shared belief in compassion, understanding, and the strength that comes from standing together. The galaxy was vast and filled with unknowns, but with the Tralix by their side, the humans knew they could face whatever lay ahead.